Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and welcome you all back to my next The 5 list. I'm going to present to all of you here on YouTube, and today's list goes to another set of 5 characters I want to see DLC in a fighting game, but unlike my last list with Dragon Ball Fighter Z, it's not a game that's, not out yet, because Dragon Ball Fighter Z doesn't come out to the end of January next year, 2018. It's for a fighting game that's been out for quite a while now, and that's Street Fighter V, and this is going to be my The 5 DLC characters that should be in Street Fighter V. And we just recently had the announcement of the Season 3 DLC for this game, showing off characters like Sakura and Blanca and Sagat, those 2 new characters, and so on and so forth. And Cody, obviously. Awesome mayor suit, breaking out of jail Cody. He looks freaking badass. But yeah, we just recently had the announcement of Season 3 of the DLC for Street Fighter V. And with that announcement, I had to change my list up a bit because Sakura was originally on this list, as was Sagat. So I had to go back to the drawing board because this list has been in the works for a while now. And I finally got around to, I'm going to actually put it together. And then they announced it because I waited too long. And here we go. I had to change my list up again. And it was done a little bit later. But yeah, Season 3's showing off those characters. Season 2 was all its original new characters. And Season 1 was a lot of the classic characters that people wanted, that they added into the game. This is going to be my 5 characters I feel should be DLC if Capcom decides to go further past Season 3. And I think they're going to, because I think they said this game would be supported for a couple of years. So I believe there's going to maybe hopefully be a Seasons 3, 4, Indoor 5, or, 4, 5, how do I say 3? I already did 3. Seasons 4, 5, Indoor 6. Hopefully there's, future seasons, because there's still a lot of characters missing. And I'm not just talking about Street Fighter characters, but characters from other Capcom franchises that are in the same universe as Street Fighter that would make perfect Street Fighter characters, but then there's other characters that are missing from Alpha and from, this game now takes place up to Third Strike and stuff like that, like more Third Strike characters, Street Fighter 3. This is going to be the 5 characters that should be DLC in Street Fighter 5. And I'm going to start with my first one with the most obvious choice now, because he's the only character missing from this category, because we have everyone else in Street Fighter 5 from this entry in the series. And that goes to E Honda as the remaining Street Fighter 2 character that has yet to be in Street Fighter 5. All the other characters, all like 12 other characters, I'm trying to think. That's like 6. Yeah, whatever it is from, the cast of characters from Street Fighter 2. There's the 8. He's the remaining character from the original 8. We got Gaio and Ryu and Chun-Li and Dalsim. We just got Blanca and Zangief and Ken and whatnot. We don't have him yet. I mean, I understand not getting maybe all like the extra characters they add. We have all the villains. We have all, the 4 main original bosses, and we probably have 1 or 2 of the extra side characters in there. But out of the 8 original characters, we do not have E Honda yet. So he's like the obvious, easiest choice to add. He's a classic character. There's a lot of gaming fans a lot of Street Fighter fans especially, that like him. I think a lot of fans like him more than Blanca, because as far as I've seen with the announcement of Blanca being in the game, there's a lot of fans that were But I think E Honda is more appreciated, even though I think I'm more of a fan of maybe Blanca. But E Honda, the sumo, the big giant sumo, from Street Fighter 2, he was a cool character. He's still in the story somewhere, obviously. Somewhere he still exists in the Street Fighter lore and universe during the Street Fighter 5 storyline. I'm assuming he's still relevant to the story after 4 leading up to 3. And he's a classic character. He's one of the remaining 8 original Street Fighter 2 characters, and he is yet to be in. He is an easy remaining choice for DLC in Street Fighter 5, if for no other reason than, oh look, it's E Honda and he's a classic and a legendary character and he's a fan favorite. You need to have him in there. My second choice goes to a character that is referenced in the Street Fighter 5 storyline and doesn't show up until Street Fighter 3's playable, being playable. But I think it'd be cool to see an early rendition of him leading up into what he kind of becomes in Street Fighter 3. And that goes to Sean. Now, this version of Sean right here is specifically, the well-trained student of Ken from Street Fighter 3. He's already been trained and knows how to fight with his Shoto attacks and his basketballs and stuff like that. And we see in Street Fighter 5 storyline, he's a little bit younger. Laura's younger brother, one of the new characters from 5. And basically Ken saves him from Fong, and he admires him, looks up to Ken, and then trains under him. why don't we get like an early rendition of him being like a student? Like he's not as Street Fighter 3 Sean as he would be, obviously in Street Fighter 3 and whatnot in Third Strike, but an early rendition of him. He has the gi. He's a little bit younger by a couple years. He doesn't have the hair maybe yet. It's just a younger version of Sean that's not as trained as he is in. He's more street, younger Sean, but pre Ken than he is being trained by Ken. Like he's Ken's student in this game. It'd be kind of cool to give us an early version of him. Like what was Sean like before he was trained by Ken? And I think it'd be cool. He's a fan favorite from 3. He's one of the characters I see that's a fan favorite from Street Fighter 3. We have to start getting more into Street Fighter 3 characters because Street Fighter 5 is the storyline, is the game that's supposed to lead us into like Gil and into the Illuminati stuff and into the storyline of Street Fighter 3 / Third Strike / whatever. So why can't we start seeing more of those characters as DLC in Street Fighter 5? Because it's getting there. This is supposed to be the transition game that leads into Street Fighter 3. I'm assuming, because we're getting so much closer, Bison's dead again. We already seen Gil, at the end of the story mode, he's hinted at. They're getting closer and closer to getting, coming full circle and getting into Street Fighter 3. Some of those characters need to be shown up. Sean, they brought Sakura back, who is Ryu's like protege, Ryu's student. Why can't we get Ken's student and Sean, but like an earlier rendition of him? Obviously, he's not going to be as trained as Street Fighter 3, / Third Strike's Sean, but like an early rendition of him, seeing where he came from, seeing his roots, seeing early days training Sean would be pretty freaking awesome. And it'd be like his moveset won't be exactly the same as this, but you see signs of that moveset starting to come to fruition, and it'd be really cool storyline-wise to see where he came from. On the topic of Third Strike, on the topic of Street Fighter 3, my third choice goes to another character from that game because he's probably one of the most requested characters in the game. He's one of the coolest characters from Street Fighter 3. I see him requested a lot. He's like one of the most requested Street Fighter 3 characters of all time. And it'd be awesome to see like more of an origin story on where this character came from. And that goes to Q. Q's been on my list since day one. I made the changes, with Sagat and with Sakura, but Q has been there since day one because he's one of the coolest, most badass characters from Street Fighter. He has this cool metal face wearing dude in a trench coat, and he's just so much different than a lot of the other characters in the Street Fighter series. And he wasn't one of my favorite characters in Street Fighter 3. I don't really like playing as him too much, but the whole presence he brings and his fighting style is interesting and unique, and he's diversified from the rest of the cast, and I would love to see, like I said, we need to start seeing some more Street Fighter 3 / Third Strike characters in this game because they're getting closer and closer to coming full circle. Like I mentioned with Sean, we are getting so close to the Street Fighter 3 storyline. I don't know if the next Street Fighter is going to be like a remake of 3 or post 3, or they're still going to continue to put more games to tide us over till 3. Like it's going to be it's going to take place between 5 and 3. I don't know, but we need to start seeing more characters from Street Fighter 3's story. We've seen Alex, but we need to start seeing more because we need to see how characters like Q or Sean or Remy or Alex, obviously we saw in the game, come into fruition for the Street Fighter story post Bison's defeat and before Gil comes in. He's a fan favorite from Street Fighter 3. He has a diverse moveset. He's a cool look. He's wanted a lot. He needs to be DLC in this game. And that's it for specifically Street Fighter characters. My last two characters are going to go to Capcom characters that are in franchises that are part of the Street Fighter lore, but have never specifically shown up in a Street Fighter game in general. Although a character from that series has showed up, and there's been references to other characters throughout the series, like through like endings and stuff like that. And that character I'm mentioning is Sakura. And the franchise I'm mentioning is Rival Schools. These last two characters are Rival Schools characters. And if Sakura, who originated basically, I forgot, I see, I wasn't really familiar with Sakura, if she originated from, Rival Schools or if she originated from Street Fighter Alpha, because she's in both. I forgot if she was in Alpha and then her schools are, in the storyline of Rival Schools, or she started in Rival Schools and then meets Ryu and becomes part of Street Fighter lore. But I'm starting seeing that if Sakura's a part of this universe, and if Sakura is now training under, she's graduated and everything, now we finally have a graduated Sakura. Holy crap, all like 21 years later. And like she's part of the lore, and Rival Schools is the same as like Saturday Slam Masters or Final Fight in terms of the franchises, and now technically Strider technically fits into the lore as well because of that one character. like all these franchises from Capcom that fall into the same universe, the same continuity as Street Fighter, why haven't we started seeing more of those characters show up? And Rival Schools, like all these characters graduate. They all should know about M. Bison. Some of them were all fighters. They should know all about Gil showing up with the Illuminati and whatnot. These two characters, I would like to see join Sakura in terms of, they finally graduated from school and they finally moved on from Rival Schools, because we probably will never see a Rival Schools 3, especially now. Like, it's been so long. But my first character for that goes to Hinata. As far as I recall, it's been a while since I played Street Fighter Alpha. I recall her being in intro animations for Sakura. She's a friend of Sakura. And I think she would have... I forgot how she would fight. Like, see, that's the thing, though. I've never played Rival Schools. I've seen stuff. I know of Batsu from Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. But I've never, back then, besides, like, certain fighting games, that was one of the fighting games I never got into. I never got around to playing was Rival Schools. I want to go back and play it because it looks so much fun. But Hinata is one of the main characters in the same school as Batsu. And I don't want to pick Batsu, so if you're thinking my fifth choice is Batsu, it's not, because I think Batsu's a little too close to being a Ryu, even though he's not. He is different enough. Hinata might be a little too much Sakura, but you can change her up. What has she been doing since she graduated from high school? Because if Sakura's graduated and is working in an arcade, I would assume Hinata has graduated too, because they're probably at the same grade. Give her an original moveset, make her similar to Sakura, show us where she's been since she graduated. I'm assuming she's still friends with Sakura, so she still wants to help her out, and they want to go find Ryu and save the world from Gil and everything. So it's like, start interluding these franchises together so we know where these characters have been. I've been waiting for years to see where the freaking Santa and Slime Masters characters have been. Like the Scorpion, like Hinata, like Batsu. Where the heck is Mike Hagar and all this? Like freaking M. Bison tried destroying the world and he doesn't decide to show up and help them? See, it's weird. I want to start seeing more non-Street Fighter characters in the same universe, the Capcom franchise in the same universe and continuity as Street Fighter start showing up in the series, because it's like, it makes no sense for a lot of them to disappear and not show up for so freaking long. And Hinata is a choice because she's technically a fan favorite. She's one of the main three characters from that game. She's Sakura's friend. Sakura's already in Street Fighter V. And she showed up in Alpha. She was one of the, she was in intro animations for Sakura, as far as I remember, in the Alpha series. So Hinata for Street Fighter V, and then the Street Fighter continuity in general. And the last one is, and you're gonna know, I'm gonna mention this, and you're gonna know exactly who I'm talking about if you play Rival Schools. It's the other student from the other main trio character from the same school Hinata and Batsu go to, and that's Kyosuke. Kyosuke has been featured in like SNK vs. Capcom games. He has been in Rival Schools. He was the main rival of Batsu. He was essentially originally a villain. Like his brother was the person that caused the Rival Schools situation to happen. The one, like the kidnapping and whatever the heck happened, I forgot now. In the storyline, I've read up on this stuff. And he was a cool character. He has a cool fighting style in SNK vs. Capcom. He was a cool fighting style in Rival Schools as far as I've seen. If we bring in Hinata, you need to bring in Kyosuke. And I know I kept out Batsu, but Kyosuke at least has a more original moveset and more a cool background in terms of the story of Rival Schools. And it's just like, I would like to see him over Batsu, because I think he'd be more original and more of an interesting character to see in the Street Fighter universe. Where the heck have these characters been? Start Capcom. You have more fighting games than just Street Fighter, and all these games are in the same continuity. Start interluding so we know where these characters have been. I want to know where these characters have been since they graduated high school. I want to know where the wrestlers and the Strata Night Slime Masters characters go. I want to know where Maki and like Dean and Lucia and all the Final Fight characters went after they defeated the Mad Gear Gang and everything. Where are these characters been? Why haven't they fought Fong or M. Bison or the Illuminati or Gil or something like that? Where are these characters all been? And Kyosuke is my obvious next choice on top of Hinata as two Rival Schools characters that we can finally start bringing into Street Fighter, because the franchise is probably never going to come back, so fans can see these characters in an actual fighting game for once. And Kyosuke has the popularity, the demand, the storyline, connections, and a cool moveset, and like I said, presence, popularity, and just the overall look of his character and background in terms of Rival Schools storyline being pulled into a Street Fighter. Kyosuke for Street Fighter V DLC, or some Street Fighter. And that is it for my 5 characters I feel should be DLC in Street Fighter V. E. Honda, Sean, Q, Hinata, and Kyosuke, those last 2 from Rival Schools. Put in the comments section what what characters you particularly want to see DLC in Street Fighter V, or in, when they finally start doing Street Fighter 6 and whatnot. Who do you want to see in terms of general returning Street Fighter characters? Any characters from like Darkstalkers, or Rival Schools, or Strider, or like Final Fight or Saturday Night Slam Masters or any of these other Capcom franchises are in the same universe as them. I think even Phoenix Wright technically counts in the same universe at this point. I don't know. Just in the comments, see what you guys think. And my name is Stephen. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day and see you all later in the next list. Bye.